Welcome to Family Gamer TV. We've been enjoying Terraria on the 3DS. Very much looking forward to it coming out on the Wii U, enjoying it on those new platforms. And I've got Dean Scott, who's the producer of 505 Games on Terraria, to tell us how the 3DS version is going and maybe a bit about the Wii U as well. So how's it been launching on 3DS?
It's been great, to be honest. It's been a long kind of road for us to get to a point where we could have a 3DS version out there. It seemed for a long time that there was just too much happening in the world of Terraria to kind of condense it down onto 3DS in any kind of workable format. But yeah, we've been working hard on it for over a year, and now it's out there, and the reception so far has been pretty overwhelmingly positive. So I'm a happy boy as I sit here right now.
It's nice. So there's lots of some 3DS specific stuff in terms of the interface, but in terms of what's in it from a Terraria perspective, is it 1.2 or is it 1.3, or how does it sit in that sort of hierarchy?
The kind of dividing lines aren't as clear on 3DS as they are for the PC version. So as our kind of baseline, we took the 1.2 version as was in mobile, which is in itself was a kind of slightly modified from the PC version. And then from there, it was a question of what else do we think that we need for the launch version to make this exciting enough for people. And we sat down with Relogic about which parts of new content had kind of provoked the most interest in their community, and they said people went crazy for Minecarts when that was announced, and the fishing content was all super well received. So we took those two pieces of content, the fishing and the minecarts, and then obviously we had to spend a load of time overhauling the UI so that would work properly with the two screens on 3DS. But then we pulled in odd little bits from 1.3 here and there. So you've got the ability to quick stack to chests, and we've got some of the slimes dropping stuff other than gel, basically. So we cherry picked bits here and there, but the bottom line is we're 1.2 plus minecarts plus fishing and a few UI bits. But those few UI bits kind of ended up taking us the longest time, really. When we were bringing Terraria to 3DS, the challenge was always to make the most of that two-screen interface, and what you gain from having two screens, and that immediate kind of ability to touch the bottom screen, and how much more of a natural interface you can have with that. Obviously, the downside is that the screen res on 3DS is pretty small compared to a PC. It was certainly the 3DS is the lowest powered and the smallest amount of screen space we've ever had to try and squeeze Terraria down onto. So obviously, all the resolution of the bottom screen and what you can and can't do with the 3DS screen. As I'm sure it's not quite like a mobile phone screen where you can pinch and zoom and have all that flexibility. It's basically it's a resistive single touch screen. So our thought throughout was let's make the most of that bottom screen. Let's have as natural interface as we can possibly have, but let's not necessarily rely on people to be kind of holding a stylus the whole time, because obviously if you're Terraria is a game that needs sticks and buttons, and if you're trying to wield a stylus as well, it's it can all get a bit kind of confusing quite quickly. So we tried to make the interface in such a way as that we're only really requiring the player to pull a stylus out if they want to do some precision building. All the rest of the time you have a quick inventory of 10 slots which are all sized very deliberately that they're kind of hittable with fingers. We've got the ability to have the map displayed at all times on the bottom screen, which is super important to obviously Terraria is a massive world, and only having a small window of that on the top screen, you need that to sort of get your bearings. But the building mode, I would say, is the thing that I'm most proud of for the 3DS version, and certainly all of the feedback that I've seen online so far since we launched at the end of last week. It's been really gratifying to hear people say that they think it's the best interface out of all of the console versions so far, and that's that the ability to kind of draw and produce structures just seemed like an absolute no-brainer to us, and we worked really hard on getting that right.
Yeah, it looks really good. So we'll do some capture footage here that I've got. So does it perform differently on the new 3DS compared to the original 3DS? You've got that extra horsepower.
Um, there are some differences. Yeah, I mean the frame rate for the new 3DS version is 60 frames. On original 3DS, it's 30 frames for the most part. We kind of discussed during the development, should we kind of try and make more of the additional kind of capabilities of new 3DS. So the reason we'd not gone so far with the differences between new 3DS and original 3DS is because for the launch version of Terraria, we have local play multiplayer. So for that to work, everybody needs to be basically running the same version of the game, and it's kind of not difficult for us to imagine, a household with a family where they've got a new 3DS and an old 3DS, because that, people tend to, upgrade and all the rest of it. So in order for the multiplayer to work across the devices, we needed to have the world sizes, being the same and make sure the content was the same on both those platforms. Having said that, we're committed to updating the 3DS version post-launch. We've already got, more content that's obviously already in the PC version that's going to be on its way to 3DS early next year. But we're also, looking into the possibility of, can we have larger world sizes as an exclusive for new 3DS? So the kind of the book's not closed on that one. We're looking into all possibilities, and obviously once we've got a better idea of who's playing the original version, we'll know kind of how much we kind of dare fracture our user base, if you like, and start to service the two units. So that's where we're up to with that.
And so with that multiplayer, how many people is it locally?
It's up to 4 players locally. There's no download play, unfortunately. So
that's my next question.
Yeah, there's no download play. Everyone needs to have their own copy of the game.
Okay.
We looked into the download play stuff, and it just wasn't going to be practical for the amount of data that a Terraria world has. So that was unavoidable, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. And so you've mentioned there about new things you're going to be adding. Are you able to sort of list off some of the headlines of what we can expect?
We've not announced new content yet. I mean, if you kind of had a look around what was in the PC version between 1.2 and 1.3, then you probably be able to take a good guess at what might be coming. But obviously, I can't sit here and tell you now.
Guarantee. Are there some things you could say are likely to be there, although they aren't guaranteed to be there?
I mean, I know exactly what's going to be there, but it's not that
Yeah.
I can't tell you. It's more that
you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Fine. So that's the 3DS, but we're also just touch briefly on the Wii U. I want to talk about that in full on another time. But how does the 3DS and Wii U versions compare?
Well, they were both handled by different development teams. The 3DS version was handled by the same studio that did the mobile version, a studio called Code Glue in Rotterdam, who were brilliant throughout production. I think they did a really good job of, tailoring a version of 3DS, of Terraria for 3DS. The Wii U version was also handled by a Dutch developer called Engine Software, who are in a less famous Dutch town called Doetinchem, which is also very pretty. But they were basically taking the console version as their starting point, and then from there it was, well, what do we need to, how can we adapt this existing version so that it makes sense on Wii U? So obviously we've kind of, on that platform, we've made the most of having 2 screens. The setup is pretty similar to it on 3DS, to be honest. You can have the touch to build on the gamepad. You can use it as a map. You can use it as inventory management. So yeah, we've made the effort to make that game make sense on Wii U, he says rather pointedly, and not making any hint about any other people that may not have done the same in a similar block building game.
do you want to comment on Minecraft? I've not seen a lot of it.
I mean, to be honest, I've not. We obviously decided to do a Wii U version of Terraria. God, this is going back a long time. This is well over a year ago. I mean, I've been with the company for just over a year, and the Wii U version was already well underway by then. So we'd sort of heard the whispers about Minecraft, and sort of nothing had happened. And obviously they announced it, and it was out the following week. I mean, I'm pretty positive about it. I think anything that kind of is going to help reinvigorate the Wii U as a platform can only benefit us. I know there's kind of a bit of rivalry between the Minecraft and Terraria communities, but I think that with the game that we're putting out on Wii U, I think we can happily coexist on that platform.
Yeah, my kids move easily between the two. They don't abandon one to play the other because they see them as quite different experiences. I think
they are. I think it's when the 3DS version launched, and I was sort of distributing some codes around friends of mine. They go, "Oh, this is like Minecraft." It's like, well, it's not actually very much like Minecraft. It's like Minecraft in that you can dig and build things, but the similarities pretty much end there. I see them as very, very different games.
So that's an interesting point, actually. So if you were speaking to a parent or someone who's not hugely game savvy, how would you describe the differences between Minecraft and Terraria?
Minecraft's an interesting one. I mean, my first exposure to Minecraft was going back a long time ago when it was still in beta and early access, or however it was they were kind of showing early versions of that. And it was Minecraft was barely a game at that point. It was, it literally was like a virtual Lego set, and you had this, enormous world, and you could pretty much build whatever you wanted in that world. But at that time, people were kind of just, well, certainly the people that I was aware of, they were building it just because it was. That they were building things because they could. There was no gameplay kind of reason to build an Eiffel Tower, or to build these contraptions that were powered by water and all the rest of it. It was just kind of an interesting kind of physicsy sandbox to mess around with. And where I see Terraria as being different, obviously we have the same kind of you dig and you build stuff, but Terraria to me is much more of it's got more of a traditional kind of video game format. It reminds me of the classic kind of platform adventure games like Super Metroid, in that there's progression there's bosses, there's obviously not quite the same focused story as you get in in Metroid and Castlevania and games of that ilk, but there is kind of an obvious progression there. There is a you can work towards a goal, whereas Minecraft for me was always more open ended, and for whatever reason it just became an absolute kind of cultural phenomenon. So yeah, well done to those guys.
Yeah, it's good. Well, you've teased a few things about Wii U, so if it's okay with you, I'd like to we'll come back at another time and talk more in detail about that. Maybe even get hold of some footage.
Absolutely.
But thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe to the channel if you want more on Terraria, more on Minecraft, on Skylanders, Disney Infinity, and all those other games.